Breaking: President Trump goes after Biden in new interview, and it is brutal. President Trump might be banned from social media, but that can't keep him quiet forever. Especially not now, when millions of immigrants are flooding towards America thanks to Joe Biden's open border policy. In a podcast interview with Fox News host Lisa Booth released on Monday, President Trump went after Biden for his irresponsible handling of immigration. The former president boldly repeated some of the same sentiments that brought him to power in 2016, saying, "As I said before, you have some very bad hombres coming up, and we're taking them into our country, and it's insane." He also emphasized the chronic issue America has with tracking those who enter the country. "They go into our country, we never find them again. They never come back. A very tiny percentage comes back," he said. And he didn't stop there. President Trump also slammed Biden for his big mistake, ending the Trump-era policies like the Remain in Mexico agreement, which could have prevented the crisis on the border. He said that his administration had been curbing the issue and, quote, had it down to an absolute science. It was a beautiful thing to see. Trump also expressed his disgust with Biden's decision to stop construction on the southern border wall, saying, "It's just crazy they're not finishing the wall." He urged President Biden to get real about the current crisis and complete the wall to help secure the nation. Liberals want your guns. Obama puts out huge statement in favor of gun-grabbing policies. Liberals didn't wait long to make the latest tragedy all about their radical agenda. After two violent shootings, one in Atlanta and one in Boulder, they're calling for massive gun control policies. And they're bringing in the big guys to promote it all. On Tuesday, President Obama released a statement demanding action to, quote, end gun violence. In a tweet, the former president acknowledged the decline in mass shootings in recent history, though he seemed to credit the pandemic for the drop. He tweeted, "A once-in-a-century pandemic cannot be the only thing that slows mass shootings in this country. It's time for leaders everywhere to listen to the American people when they say enough is enough." Obama goes on to call guns weapons of war and states, in the most out-of-touch way considering the regulations of the pandemic, quote, "We should be able to go to school or go out with our friends or worship together without mentally planning our escape if someone shows up with a gun. We should be able to live our lives without wondering if our next trip outside of our home could be our last." Liberals have rallied behind the call for action, proposing every kind of freedom-killing legislation from buybacks to weapons bans. The Democrat playbook never changes. Never let a crisis go to waste. Kamala Harris admits border crisis is a huge problem. After weeks of denial from both the president and the vice president, the Biden-Harris administration is getting real about the border crisis. On Wednesday, Vice President Kamala Harris appeared on CBS This Morning, where she admitted that the surge in immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border was, quote, a huge problem. Host Gayle King was direct with the VP, saying, "Let's look at what's happening at the border. Rightly or wrongly, people are coming in record numbers because they believe the Biden administration has encouraged, certainly, children to come. What are you going to do about that? It's chaotic." Kamala replied, "Well, okay, look, it's a huge problem. I'm not going to pretend it's not. It's a huge problem." And she suggested that the huge problem isn't going away anytime soon, saying, "This is, however, not going to be solved overnight." She also had to answer for why she and Joe Biden have avoided visiting the southern border to help alleviate the huge problem. Take a look.
Let's take a look at what's happening at the border. Rightly or wrongly, people are coming in record numbers because they believe the Biden administration has encouraged certainly children to come. What are you going to do about that? It's chaotic. Some are calling it a crisis. And you all, your team is under fire because both Republicans and Democrats said, look, if you're going to change the Trump policy, the previous policy, at least have a game plan. And there doesn't appear right now to be a game plan.
Well, okay, look, it's a huge problem. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend it's not. It's a huge problem. And are we looking at overcrowding at the border, in particular of these kids? Yes. Should these kids be in the custody of HHS, the Health and Human Services, instead of the Border Patrol? Yes. Should we be processing these cases faster? Yes. This is, however, not going to be solved overnight. There are things that we need to do, especially since there was a system in place previously, before the last administration, to allow us to process these kids in their country of origin. That was dismantled. We have to reconstruct it. It's not going to happen overnight, but you know, we have senior administration officials right now in Mexico and Guatemala also dealing with in addition to what needs to happen at the border.
Will you
root
and the president
causes.
be going down to the border anytime soon?
At some point, absolutely, we will go down to the border, and I've been down to the border. And our Secretary of the Homeland Security, Alex Mayorkas, has been down there twice. Senior administration officials have been down there. And yes, we will go.
Breaking: President Biden holds first press conference. For the entirety of Joe Biden's presidency, he has avoided holding a formal press conference. And on the 65th day without one, he shocked everyone by appearing before the press. As expected, the liberal press took it easy on their beloved 78-year-old president. But conservative activists did not let Biden off the hook. They were relentless in their questions about the border crisis, Biden's soft stance on immigration, and his neglect to visit the border despite administration officials declaring the recent surge a huge problem. Biden stumbled through most of the questioning with a few embarrassing missteps, including referring to himself as a senator instead of his actual position, President of the United States. But hey, at least he made an appearance. Before today's conference, Biden set a record for taking longer to hold a press conference than the last two presidents combined.